everybody. So before we go further, I would like to say something real quick, and that is I had to pause the two episodes. I just watched them like 45 minutes ago. I would have to pause them and then rewatch key scenes because I just spent the entire two episodes basically begging at the show, don't screw this up. Don't screw this up. Don't screw this up, because last time we were in this position, things got screwed up pretty fucking badly. Like, we've been here before as a franchise, guys. Like, we've been here with Takudo and Link Joker and Korin stuff, and it failed miserably. And the franchise was trying to recover ever since until a V-Series came out. So, needless to say, going into these two episodes, I am a little, rather fairly or not fairly, trying to keep my expectations managed, and this kinda is a bad sign. I'll get into why in a bit. First up, I'll just go from scene to scene, more or less. So first up, we had a 20-minute recap for virtually no reason other than to have us end at a certain point and probably save a little dough. That being said, this wasn't the worst recap I've ever seen, because at the very least, it was moved forward by our characters and them sort of thinking about their emotional journey, and it did sort of have me think to myself, yeah, these guys have actually been through a lot together. Like, okay, nothing big or earth-shattering has happened for the past, like, what, 10 episodes? But you don't always need that, and I felt like our characters still grew a lot and learned to know each other and learned to care about each other, and kind of having a few minutes just sort of dedicated to that was a nice experience. And that sort of final scene of Korin resting on Masaki's shoulder, besides being a little Yuri baiting, I liked that quite a bit. It was cute, so I could live with that. Then we get into the last 5 minutes and we get our plot progression, and it just kind of all went to shit. So the big thing in this sort of scene is we learn that Takudo is referred to as the concert master. If you think they should have rethought that name a little bit more, I completely agree with you. We find out that Takudo inherited his weird face tattoo from his father, who, when he died, Takudo was selected because the plot says so, and Azel entered this little boy and is possessing him, working with him, just giving him advice. I have no fucking idea. And I don't think the show is ever gonna give us any idea. And you can sometimes get away with in a show without ever really giving a lot of straight answers. Hell, I love Do Ra Ra Ra, and I sometimes feel like that show barely tells you anything about certain aspects. But the difference here is that I don't get that sort of mystery tone. It just sort of feels like information, information, information. Does any of it feel important? Not really. It just sort of comes and then it goes. And apparently getting a tattoo means you can lead a billion-dollar corporation at age 10. Sure, whatever. Takudo's brother is like, sucks to be you, kid. I'm going off to probably never be seen again. It's pretty fucking stupid when you really think about it. So now, Alien possessed Takudo, because remember, people, as much as you might want to come up with some fancy, complicated term for it's the power of the units or the strength of the gold paladin, it's a kid is possessed by a fucking alien. That is what we're going with. It is that stupid. So then we get the next scene, and the next scene really served as kind of me just going, oh, because it sort of made me realize, no, this could all definitely work, and that is, we get the scene that ultra rare, these three women are basically just slaves. Like, they were probably three innocent people, and Takudo just wiped their minds away and replaced them with versions that suited him most. That's fucking horrifying. Like, if done correctly, this could be an amazing plot point. Like, even everything with the Azel thing, you could play that up as horrifying. Like, you can do a lot with this. I've said this before, and that is that the cerebral always scares me. Like, the idea of someone having their mind messed with or having the building blocks of a person sort of toyed around with is something that has always fascinated me and is something that has always horrified me. So I should be right on board with this, but the problem problem is the show doesn't really play up what's going on, and it doesn't really give you the time to digest anything. Takuto becomes the concert master. They don't really explain what that is or what Azel's deal is. We just sort of get a boring exposition scene about Planet Krail in an episode later. But we get this scene where the three girls are taken in, and it looks creepy at first. They're sort of standing there like zombies, their faces look blank and expressionless, and then Takuto just wills them personalities. Or some people would argue that it probably is their actual personalities, just with their memories messed around. It's still fucking creepy. Like, it's a whole creepy thing, and it's fascinating, but we're not given time to take it in, and it's not given time to really be built up, because then the episode ends. And if I had to wait a week in between, I'd probably get myself excited, thinking that, no, they're totally going to make this work. They're going to play up the moral ambiguity of the scene. They're going to go into what it's like for these girls to live with no memories, what it's like to be slaves, what it's like for Takuto to have to sort of be this possessed thing. I probably would have talked myself into it, only to then be amazingly shut down from this week's episode. So first up, I did like that they just brought Ibuki to the mansion. Like, there's no long cat and mouse game. There's no we have to watch him any longer than we did. Once they assess that Ibuki is a dangerous threat, they just bring him there. I still don't fucking understand what the idea of Tetsu having no connection to units that he doesn't have because he doesn't have Psyqualia. I don't understand what that is supposed to mean. And they're probably never going to do anything with it. But whatever. So then we get Takuto's sort of scene where he just sort of expositions at Ibuki's face. And it's kind of a bizarre scene, because I can't tell if it's trying to be creepy, if it's trying to build intrigue, if I'm supposed to really care about Takuto. It doesn't really feel like anything. Like, in the previous couple episodes when we had Takuto in it, there felt like we were building to what he was. But then when all that build-up just gets resolved in a 10-second scene of, he's got a Azel in his butthole or something, I don't fucking care. When it just turns into that, and then we just get a really generic card fight, it doesn't really add anything to the plot. So when Takuto then loses to the Deleters and is erased, I kind of don't care. We didn't get any time to know this kid. I don't even know what's going on with this kid. And just all of a sudden, I'm supposed to believe this is a terrifying thing. I don't understand or know what anything is. You didn't build anything up because this isn't a universe with world-ending stakes every 5 minutes. You can do this sort of thing in a Yu-Gi-Oh! Because that is an established universe of nonsense. Not something that's more or less established to be fairly realistic and was holding to this. So then we get the sort of bit with the three girls getting their minds messed with, and in theory it works, but again, it's the execution, because Rekka just out of nowhere all of a sudden meets Emmy and her friend and is like hanging out with them doing generic girly stuff. It's cute, but it's completely hollow because we don't know anything about Rekka. She has no distinguished personality. We haven't even seen her use her goddamn Neo-Nectars yet. Like, I don't really care about any of this. At least in the original Cardfight Vanguard, they took time to show that Rekka was bonding with Emmy. But here, she was there for 5 seconds and will probably never be around them ever again. Like, so I don't care about either of the two of them, her or Suiko, getting possessed by Deleters, because their lives are already shit, so who cares? The only one I care about is Korin, but just like with everything else, it's not given the proper time to really have any effect. Korin is just like, I have indigestion, and runs off. Now, some of this should be creepy, like the bit where she's going, my mind is being overwritten, that actually gave me a chill for a sec. That's a creepy concept. She has no idea what's going on here. She was just having a normal, fine day, and just all of a sudden, just like everything she is being taken away, but they didn't really do anything with it. What I mean by that is, why not have it we see, like, in her head, mental images getting erased? Why not make it she's losing her memories? Why not make it we get some sort of creepy image of the Deleters infecting her head? Like, you can do a lot with this, and you have the time to do it. You did a fucking recap last week, for Christ's sake. Like, there's a lot you can do, and a lot of creative stuff with this setup, but they're kind of not doing it. They just kind of threw everything at you and just sort of ended, and now next week we get Psyqualia zombies. Again, say that out loud. it's really fucking stupid. Like, you can do so much, and so much of what this show is just based on the character's emotional growth. You could totally tie this into a more scary mind battle thing, but they didn't. And I'm a little worried that this is going to be the downfall again, because we'll just never return to it being about emotion. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I'm done with the show. I'm not saying I'm losing faith. It could easily turn things around. You have plenty of time to fix things. But considering how many cans of worms they're opening at the moment, it is a little worrisome. But again, we're sticking with it. That being said, just in case I need some more positive things to talk about, who wants to talk about Boogie Pop? Or who wants to talk about Promised Neverland? Tell me that below, people. We're kind of desperate. But tell me what you thought. In the comment section below, give me your thoughts on this episode. If you're kind of worried about where things are going, or if you think they'll bounce back and they'll just sort of tidy things up in the next few episodes. Tell me that below. And as for the Vanguard question of week, it's sneak peek weekend, or if you're like most locals, you just got as many sneak peek boxes so that way everyone can get the stuff. And 3 new clans have entered the game. Which are you most excited for? Great Nature looks like it'll be the best of the 3, because I know Great Nature is sort of like the best Excel clan in the OCG. But tell me what you're most excited for, because I kind of want to play Gear Chronicle. I never played it during G format, but always kind of wanted to, so maybe now's the time. And as always, click to like, click to subscribe, and join me next week as we pray and keep our fingers crossed things will fix up.